Hey, it's Kesha, and I'm back with another video giving you a key of wisdom to your kingdom. And today we're talking about Lent. So Lent 2024 will begin Ash Wednesday, February 14th, and run through Holy Thursday, March 28th. We'll have Good Friday on March 29th, and then Easter on March 31st. Lent is the time of, it's 40 days and 6 Sundays before Easter, and it's a season of prayer and fasting. Commonly, it's thought to refer to the 40 days prior to Jesus' resurrection, but that's actually incorrect. It isn't actually listed it's not mentioned in the New Testament at all. Lent comes to us as a ritual and tradition based on the tradition of prayer and fasting we see in the Old Testament. Think first Moses going up into the mountains to pray before he receives the 10 Commandments. Elijah going into the mountains to pray before he brings down the rain during the time of severe drought. And then we see Jesus in the New Testament fasting for 40 days at the time of the end of his studies before he begins his ministry. Other traditions also have a ritual of or practice of fasting and prayer. Think Ramadan that Muslims partake in, March, April, the time as well. Though it's not 40 days, I believe it's 29 to 30. In the Buddhist tradition, you're familiar with their fasting and prayer, though I don't think there's a particular, like a lengthy fast that they do, but fasting and prayer is something we often associate with religious practice. And that's because it's a time of preparation, preparing the body, the mind, and the spirit to receive, to release a hold of things that have become common and embody more of what is Christ-like or elevated consciousness if you're of a different faith. It's also a way to prepare for a great piece of spiritual work. 40 days, 40 nights, especially as it's mentioned in the Bible. Well, 40 is the number itself. It represents the foundation, the foursquare. So it's completion. And metaphysically, 40 represents as long as it takes. So when we hear of Moses, Elijah, and Jesus fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, that number comes to us from an Aramaic tradition, not meaning exactly 40 days and 40 nights, but that a period of time that it took for them to move from one level of consciousness to another. As metaphysicians, we practice Lent as a way to cleanse the body and mind, to be more receptive and expressive of the Christed nature. And we use this as a way to clear away the debris of the past, to make space for the soon-to-be resurrected Christ itself. I am the resurrection and the life. The period of Lent allows us to not just say those words every day as you might as an affirmation, but to step into and embody it. So Lent is the time we seek to prepare ourselves for that truth to be expressed. So we fast, loose and let go of something. And that could be food, because that often has quite a hold on us. Could be common luxuries or whatever you feel you might need a break from. In this common day, we talk about needing a social media break. So that's something certainly to consider. It's just a fantastic time to reset. And with prayer, we are then practicing discipline. Disciplining ourselves to a higher way of thinking, preparing ourselves to live at a higher level of consciousness. It encourages us to focus inward, and what we focus on expands. So it's not about what you're giving up, and that really shouldn't be the focus. I forget the exact scripture, but it's like, be not as the ones who you make a lot of noise when they pray and fast. Like, it's not something that you you're focused on, well, I'm giving this up, and you need everyone to know that. It's definitely more of an internal exercise. If you follow Keeping a True Lent by Charles Fillmore, your daily prayers will be developing different faculties of the self, be that faith, hope, wisdom, love, healing, understanding, etc. Or you could pick something that you want to focus on in prayer. I did read Keeping a True Lent and do a full series back in 2021, and I'll make sure to link the playlist so that you can follow along if you decide to keep a true Lent in true fashion based on the Charles Fillmore example. And I encourage you to think about what you might want to fast from and pray for during that time. For me, I think I'm currently in the middle of a 14-day juice fast, and it's actually going to end on February 14th, on Ash Wednesday. So I won't be fasting from food necessarily, but I will. I'm using this current juice fast actually as a way to make a final break from my interest in processed and junk food. I've been on a yo-yo with it for a long time, and I'm trying to cut the strings of the yo-yo. So I would like my Lent to not include any processed food, because it would help solidify this 14-day juice fast that I'm on. And then in terms of prayer, I want to do a sustained meditation on divine love. I'm curious and excited to see what that will do. Cute story. I have three other friends, and we would meet weekly to talk about what was up with us. We call ourselves the Buttercups, because when we started it at the beginning of January, it was like, buckle up, because we're going to make things happen. So buckle up, Buttercups. And so we call ourselves the Buttercups. Anyway, one of us was having trouble with a teacher who was just really disorganized, and my friend's trying to finish her master's class. And the teacher was really disorganized, and it just created chaos, and she wasn't making forward progress. And so she's telling us about it, and I suggested that she ask that divine love be poured out over the situation and see what happened. So when we met the next week, she told us, or the next month, I guess, some time had passed, and she'd been saying the prayer, and class started to move so easily. Like the teacher got the help that she needed with the AV equipment. Her lessons were ready because she wasn't flustered by that, and they started to not only move so smoothly, but there was such a lightness and a happiness amongst all of the students and the teacher that it was such so much more of an enjoyable experience. And it's interesting for me that, I've read about divine love through the works of Catherine Ponder, and I've known about them for a long time, and I've been practicing them off and on for years. And so I know of many stories, and I even have my own, but my friend's story, Rachel's story, is the one that I come back to when I think about the sweetness of divine love. So I'm interested to apply that to my life over the sustained period and see what great good comes of it. Speaking of great good, I'm wishing that for all of you. I can't wait to hear of your stories. You can certainly leave them in the comments of this video. I do check the comments from time to time and review them. So leave your comments of the things that you're experiencing throughout. We can always talk about them, and I look forward to that. And that is all I have for you, my lovelies. I will see you soon in the next video, and love you in the meantime. Bye.